would help answer so many questions is why if we could answer the question, why did they all of a sudden turn that house into a girl's house? And two, why?
That is weird.
And then two, why do you have seniors living with freshmen? That does not normally happen, especially unless they're really close. But I don't even know if they all knew each other, did they?
Okay, so first of all, that house is a rental. So it's whoever takes out a lease application through the agency that was the property manager. And over the years, there have been both college guys and college girls living in that house. Most recently, it had been members of Pi Beta Phi that were living in it. And so that's how Maddie had moved into it the year before. She had actually moved in for the 2021-2022 school year. And then in the fall of 2022, then the rest moved in. So Dylan moved in, Kaylee moved in, Xana moved in, Bethany moved in. Now, Maddie and Kaylee obviously knew each other because they were best friends from grade school on. And then Dylan, Bethany, Xana, and Maddie all knew each other from Pi Beta Phi. So, yes, they all knew each other. And then, of course, Ethan was Xana's boyfriend. No one living in the house was a freshman. Bethany and Dylan were sophomores. And then Xana was a junior, and Maddie and Kaylee were seniors. And it's not unusual to have people living in rental houses, live-out houses that are different class ranges. It's just freshmen technically have to live on campus their first year, but none of them were freshmen.
For what I'm seeing and hearing and understanding and learning about human trafficking, it certainly sounds like to me that you have people that were in charge of the trafficking close in town, and I think they had that set up and used that particular home for what they needed to do.
Okay, there is absolutely zero proof that human trafficking was taking place in that house. So if you're going to make an accusation like that, please post proof. So I will be waiting for your proof on either Tommy or Rory's shows the next time you're a guest.
It shows a picture of the owner of the home. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's the person I was talking about in addition to someone else. I believe they were setting that up upon arrival of when he was going to show up to be the leader of the college.
It was gifted. He gifted it to the university, right? Wasn't that what we heard in the beginning?
He did. He did. But I was talking about prior to. Oh, never mind. I'm going to skip over this.
Yeah, maybe you should. Maybe that would be a good idea before you say something really stupid.
I think the one you're talking about owns a lot of the stuff around there.
I think he got rid of it and gave it to the university because he wanted to separate himself from that home.
100%. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the import-export business, the address was listed there, if you remember that.
Yes, I do. And that's what I'm saying.
There.
Everything was starting to put in its place before.
Look it up. They have no products. They have no products.
Yeah, they don't.
None.
They don't.
Could you get mail there? I've heard both. I've heard people say that they haven't, and I've heard people say that they could.
What's that?
Could they receive mail there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
for the company, the company's address is listed as that house.
It is,
and it's an import-export business with no products.
What does that tell you? It says a lot right there.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. They were using this home, the person that owned it and a very famous person that lives there, while he arrived to be the leader of the college, they were setting this whole thing up, for what they needed, for what they wanted to do, running out of that house. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right.
And
Yeah.
is that a way? That's a way they can also do money laundering, right?
So, first of all, the owner that had it when the murders took place, Dan, did gift it to the university. He is not who ran a business out of the house years ago. And also, when you're saying a very famous person, I'm assuming you're talking about Scott Green. And he never actually lived in the house. His father owned it as a rental back in the late 60s, early 70s. Scott never actually lived in it. This has been stated several times. So I don't understand why people keep getting this information wrong. But also, Dan and Scott did not set anything up in that house for anything nefarious. No trafficking, no money laundering, nothing. Now, the business you're thinking of was Small World Software, and that was set up by Scott Perky back in 1999. And that never got off the ground. He registered the name, and that was it. And it was supposed to be a software company, so it wasn't an import-export company. And it has been defunct for years. In fact, no annual report ever got filed or anything with the state. And in case you don't believe me about Scott Green never living in the house, here is the information about that.
I don't know if I said it or not, but we were talking about money laundering, and when as what I have learned through trafficking, I don't know, I'm using that word, sorry, but this, I'm gonna have to use it. I don't know what other word to use, but this trafficking, they use these individuals and they have them open up several accounts so they can do their money laundering through that way. And who had a lot of accounts?
Right.
Kaylee.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kaylee had 10 accounts. She could have been laundering for somebody,
Right.
Okay, here were the institutions that warrants were pulled for financials. But as you can see, like Block, which is Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, those are accounts that are just cash transfer accounts. Those aren't like bank accounts. And then Elon was Kaylee's auto loan. And a lot of those others, you have credit card accounts, you have student loan accounts, you have bank accounts. Also, Steve talked about how Kaylee had her old car loan. She had to take that out through a credit union. He also said they had set up an IRA for her, retirement accounts, investment accounts, etc. 10 accounts is not unusual. In fact, when I graduated from college, I had 7 accounts, and that was back in the mid-90s. And if PayPal and all that had been around then, I would add even more of what you would consider financial accounts than just 7. So there was no money laundering going on. There was nothing crazy about the amount of accounts Kaylee had. No, she did not have $10,000 in each account. No, she did not have $100,000. Steve G has already debunked that ludicrous claim a long time ago.
So here it is, folks. This is where the fire hydrant is. And I'm saying, and now think about what I'm saying and how much proof there is of this. There was a fight out here, okay, in the street. Maddie's jacket ends up over here.
Right.
Did the girls hear this fight going on between Ethan and the other guys and Xana screaming and Ethan screaming? Did he all that? And there must have been a lot of noise. Did they hear that and come out? And then Maddie takes off running or something, and something happened right here with Maddie.
You guys,
you know what I mean?
I think you're onto it. I feel that once the girls got dropped off, it went down for them. While it was going down with Ethan and Xana. You know what I mean? And they took off running.
Right. Because the fight started, I do believe, at about 1:19. So, but there was a lot of shit that went on with the fight, and so, hour later.
Well,
there was shit going on for that whole hour. I do believe. I think there was shit going on.
Okay, you are getting the Pants on Fire award because there was no fight that night. There's no proof there was any fight that night. In fact, Ethan's half-brother Eric confirmed there was no fight that night. And there definitely wasn't a street fight with lots of noise and people yelling and screaming, because you definitely would have had people calling that into the police. You would have had police reports. You would have had responses. You would have had people talking about how there was a fight. There was no fight. But hey, if you find proof, please post your proof, because you did claim that there's lots of proof. But, the whole rumor about a fight came from 4chan, and nobody ever actually posted any proof of that rumor. Also, there's no proof that was Maddie's coat found by the fire hydrant. If somebody can show proof that that was, in fact, her jacket, please post the actual proof. So show me that that was really her jacket. And if you can show me actual proof that it physically came from the house and was set there, like you have footage of that, then show it. Let me know. But until then, you're getting the Liar Liar Pants on Fire award, because, yeah, a street fight, give me a break. And especially in light of all the documents that were recently released, everything went down in the house, okay? Nothing went down around 2:45 a.m. outside. It all went down after 4 in the house.
And the police were parked right here when they had those guys, and those other people were running right in front of that cop's light, right in front of the fucking cop's light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't stop them. He didn't stop them. But he stopped those other kids.
Right.
Stopped those other kids.
Never give him a breathalyzer or anything. I mean, they probably went ahead and issued the $500 and it was paid for, apparently. Well, that was probably set up a distraction.
So, as Brad Hamilton would say in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, learn it, know it, live it. Here is the Idaho law about minors in consumption or possession. And no, they don't give you a breathalyzer for that. It's illegal to be under 21 in possession or consumption of alcohol. Doesn't matter if you're drunk or not. And as far as the ones running by and the cops not stopping them, that's because they already had the other kids on the field stopped. So while they're writing citations for them, they're not going to go chase after another group of kids. That's not how it works. They stop one group, they finish with that group, and then they go looking later for another group. I seriously, come out to a college campus sometime on a Friday night or a Saturday night and observe the cops. There's lots of kids that get away because they see the cops and they scatter and they run on by, and the unfortunate ones that get caught end up with the minor in possession fine. You learn real quick how to try to avoid the cops, but unfortunately some just mosey along dumb, thinking they won't get caught, and then they do. And then it's not so fun when you have to pay that ticket and explain to your parents why you got a $500 ticket because you were being an idiot. But that's all part of college. You live and you learn. And there was nothing nefarious about those stops in the Banfield that night. It was not a distraction. It was not a setup for anything. It was just a run-of-the-mill, regular Saturday night, early Sunday morning, minor in possession bust.
Right?
Yeah. But I think they were in on it. My opinion.
Well, hey, that's my opinion. That's my opinion too.
The 2 cops were in on it, right?
Yes.
I think there was 2 of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if there was a fight right there, there's no way they could have missed it. So I don't know that.
Oh, good Lord, back to this again. No, the cops were not in on it. But hey, if you have proof, show the proof. Okay? Still waiting for you to bring this so-called proof.
Different type of trafficking going on. And I can only say, allegedly, because I don't know this 100%, but it certainly looks like it and it points to that. So I believe that, yes,
and did
some frats were...
Did Kaylee know something that these frat boys, maybe like Adam and even her, maybe that's why her and JD split up.
Yep.
Think about that. And then And then, so they're split up for like 3 weeks or 10 days or whatever it is. And then it happens. What'd you tell Adam?
I told Adam everything.
I told Adam everything. Maybe that they were going to turn them in. They were going to turn them in for the trafficking.
Because you got Jack S saying we're going to get you for this, which me that's already premeditated. How can you just all of a sudden just decide to do this within an hour?
We're
premeditated.
going to get you, or they're going to get you? Is it we're going to get
you know
you,
what?
or they're going to get you?
To me, I looked at it again and I heard were, but still that's very questionable. Okay. But that's my opinion.
Okay, this is another gigantic face palm. The fraternity guys, Jack, Adam, they were not into trafficking. That's not why Kaylee and Jack broke up. And the whole Adam thing was about Jack and Kaylee, actually, but it was about Kaylee wanting to get back together with Jack. Let's take a listen.
They were, whether she was moving without him or not, he had nothing but love.
We went and investigated Adam. What did you tell Adam? We went through that whole thing. Adam is about her trying to get back with Jack.
Day one.
They're roommates.
Also, Jack S. never said they're going to get you for that. He said we're going to get you some grubs. Let's take a listen to that. He said, we're going to get you some grubs, Maddie, and then we're going home. He never said anything about they're going to get you for that, or we're going to get you for that.
Remember the rumor of Maddie flushing that stuff down the toilet? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I started it. Well, I was just guessing one night. And I was on Rory's, I think it was. I didn't even have a channel at the time. I was on Rory's, I think. And I was just guessing. Maybe she flushed 75 grams worth of fucking drugs down
man.
And the next thing you knew, it grew up to 275,000. I'm fucking laughing.
You know how the YouTube people are.
I forgot you said you started that.
But it could be that happened. I could be right, just guessing that something like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's got to be some truth to that. I mean, it's a particular amount and what happened, and she could have done that. Mm-hmm. I mean, the rumor has it that Maddie was mean, and so.
What on earth? Okay, so you guys are actually laughing, and you actually think it's funny that Tommy made up a whole story about a murder victim that wasn't true. And you think it's funny, and then you go on to say, oh, well, it could have been true because that was such a specific amount. Yeah, Tommy made up that amount. It wasn't true. And then for you to go on and say, well, because it was rumored that Maddie was mean, just stop, okay? Frickin' liars, pants on fire, and it's not funny. The fact that you laugh about him admitting that he made that story up when you should be saying, hey, this isn't cool. Okay, this isn't cool to make these things up about people that were murdered.
It makes me wonder about that. We're going to get you for that, Maddie. And, what'd you tell Adam? I told Adam everything. And come on, a few hours later, they're gone.
Right. So
I just
what do we need to be looking at again?
How do you clear somebody that just said that? How do you clear anybody like that?
Well, Tommy, as I just pointed out, he never said they're going to get you. He said, we're going to get you some grubs, Maddie. So why wouldn't Showalter be cleared? I mean, for crying out loud, he was their chaperone. I mean, He was helping watch out for them that night, walking from Corner Club to the grub truck.
People think it was Joe Vito. I don't think it was. I think it was Jack
Yeah.
Showalter. She was drunk.
Yep.
Fuck you, mister. And she was just pointing, whatever.
Right, because when she slammed her hands down, Jackass
Why
said
would-
something right away.
Right. Why would she be saying fuck you to Joe Vito?
She wouldn't, because Jack
She wouldn't.
Showalter said something right away to
Yeah.
her, because that's his behavior. He lips off real
Exactly.
quick. He's got this temper, We've seen it.
You've seen it? So, Natural Healing, can you tell me exactly when you in person experienced Jack Showalter's behavior or his temper? Because I'd love to know. I would honestly love to know when you've seen it in person. Also, it was Joe Vito that Maddie was saying, fuck you to. Joe acknowledged that in several interviews because he was annoyed with how drunk she was and made a comment to her. And so Maddie turned around and told him, fuck you. So it was not directed at Jack, it was directed at Joe. But, and as far as Showalter, all the stuff that people are claiming about him has not been true.
Well, could it, I just popped in my head about maybe, this is just, like I said, I've not heard this, but all of a sudden I started thinking, okay, the night they were in that bar, right, the corner bar, corner club, before they went to the grub truck, Jack S. got kicked out of that bar, and I have heard rumors that it was Maddie that had him kicked out. Not Maddie, I'm sorry, Kaylee. What if they were talking to Adam because he works there, and they were telling why they went and told what he was doing? They were talking about Jack S. I told Adam everything, and that's when he said that we're going to get you.
Oh, Lord, here we go again. No, Jack S. was not kicked out of Corner Club. No, Kaylee and Maddie didn't have him kicked out. They were there at Corner Club with him, hanging out with him. Also, I just played you from Steve what the Adam conversation was. And this has been out for a long, long time. It's like you people keep rehashing things like it's Groundhog's Day without ever acknowledging the actual facts that have entered the conversation.
Yeah, I was there to protect them or whatever,
Bullshit.
That's
I don't
bullshit.
believe that. I'm tired of listening to that.
They
same
wanted
thing.
nothing to do with that guy. They wanted nothing totally to do with that guy. And I also got, we should get on some of these videos. I got one about the dog being skinned shortly before that. And we already know that gentleman that we're talking about was doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was.
Coyotes.
And, don't you think, Tommy, that was a message? What they did to that puppy?
Could be.
I think it was.
Could be.
Absolutely.
Could be.
I think there was a lot of different messages coming.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think your brains are getting all kinds of messages that are screwy. But no, that was not Jack Showalter that was leaving dead coyotes. The coyotes at U of I were back in 2017. Okay, Jack Showalter was a high school student in Boise back then. It definitely was not him leaving dead coyotes in 2017 at University of Idaho fraternities. Also, Buddy the dog was not related to the murders. Jack Showalter did not do anything to Buddy the dog. So, yeah, sending messages. No, your brain, your tinfoil hats are picking up those signals, in my opinion, allegedly.
So if they got home and there's a fight going on the street, wouldn't the driver have noticed something?
The driver was in on it.
Well, obviously, we don't even know who the driver was.
Oh, good Lord. There was no fight out in the street that morning. And no, the driver, for a good sakes, how many people are you guys going to keep saying we're in on it? Like, at this point, I think you guys have accused 7 million people, give or take a few. I mean, does your brain hurt when you think because I just can't imagine actually thinking these things. I can't imagine that you actually think people knew this was going to go down and that all these different people in town were involved and that all these law enforcement agencies are covering up. I mean, use some critical thinking skills at some point, please.
That's swamp.
Well, let's put it this way. If the fight had gone on before Banfield happened, correct? Why the
What's
heck?
that?
If there was a fight in the street, right, before Banfield, the Banfield incident, why did Rosie say, it's a quiet night tonight? What the heck? I don't consider having a big street fight a quiet night.
That's what they want everybody to think,
Because it was a relatively quiet night for being a football weekend. And there was no fight out in the street, okay? So could we just remember that it's about these young people, these 4 young people, and the 2 survivors, and then their families and friends and everybody else that is dealing with this loss? And could we stop making up this stupid shit and running with rumors with no proof? Please?